This is a washing line pole or prop, and it is simultaneously one of the least bushcrafty outdoor items I own and one of the handiest. So today we're going to take a look at 3 ways that you can use one of these washing line poles to solve some of your top problems, and also look at why you may want to get one of these for your forest school and bushcraft kit. If that sounds interesting to you, then keep watching. We'll be back in a mo. First off, let's start talking about what makes these washing line poles special and better than, say, just a forked stick. Forked stick, incredibly handy to have. You can cut one yourself and you can just keep it at your forest school site. But if you're packing things in and out and you want something that has a few more fun features, then here is why you should try a washing line pole. So first of all, they are adjustable. So with a little bit of screwing on the side there, we can change the height that we're at. Now you can saw your forked stick shorter, but I'd challenge you to saw it longer. This adjustability means you can get it to just the right height for the application you need. And washing line poles like this that have come in 2 sections are pretty handy because they pack down well and they can just slide into the side of a cart and they take up virtually no space. Pretty lightweight as well. But the real special thing about these washing line poles is the hook that they have on the top there. Because you can see the string will sit in there and it'll hold on to it. So even if the rope goes up or comes down, it'll still be trapped within this loop. And this makes it significantly better than your average forked stick. So let's have a look at how we can apply this in practice. Application number 1 for your washing line pole or top pole, as I call them, is, I'm sure you've come across this before, is when you have guy lines across a path. So if you operate in a public space, you may well need to be concerned about keeping a path clear of trip hazards or garroting hazards. And one of the ways we can do that is we can use top pole. We can prop it up underneath. There, that in there. Loosen it off a bit here. And there we have our top guy line up above head height. And this is equally applicable for a busy site where you need public access through, as it is for a camp where you just want to make sure that there is easy flow of people through an area where there might be multiple guy lines. Some people need to get access to equipment, to a particular work area. This just raises those guy lines up without needing those trees in exactly the right place to string your line to. Application number 2 is to raise up and keep up a side of your top. So here we've got quite a low edge to this. This means that you can't really stand or walk underneath this. It's about right for sitting height, but not for much more. What we can do is we can hook in our top pole and we can get it up a lot higher. Now this has 2 advantages over just leaving it the way it is. First of all, you get more height and space underneath there, and secondly, this is one of the ways that you can deal with wind pressure on the top. So if we have a significantly windy day, and ideally you would be pitching your tarp in such a way that the wind would travel along the length of the ridgeline, but if it is coming in from the side, you tend to get a lot of pressure, particularly on the bigger tarps on the top, and pressure downwards, and you'll often have situations where you'll get the wind pressing down on the top before it springs it back up again. As you can tell, this is probably not really pleasant to sit underneath this. Whereas popping a top prop in there means that first of all, when the wind pressure is on the top, it holds it in place. It creates a firm structure that's not going to shift and means we have less sag when we have wind pressure on that top. And this is where the hook on top of the pole really comes into its own, because this is what will hold the strap, particularly if you put it through one of the loops on your tarp. It'll hold it in place even if we get wind going up and coming down. It's not going to slip off the top here. Whereas a forked stick, it'll come off, forked stick would fall over, and then you'd still have that wind pressure. So it gives us security and rigidity on the edge of our tarp, particularly when it's really windy. Our third application of our tarp or washing line pole is when we need to peg straight down to the ground. This might be because we don't have any trees in the direction we want, or just we don't have any suitable other anchor points. But the problem with pegging straight down to the ground is that you lose a lot of livable space and usable space underneath your tarp because the corners drop down so far. This might be great for water runoff, but not so great if you want to get a lot of people underneath this tarp. So what we can do is we can slacken off our guy line, take our tarp pole, hook it into our guy line loop, and then we can just prop it straight up. You can see we've guyed our tarp out. We have a decent amount of height for our tarp shelter, and it's all in a relatively small footprint. So there we go. I hope I've impressed upon you the versatility and the usefulness of just having a couple of these tarp poles. Now, where you get them, there's quite a few different places. I got these from Amazon. Aldi and Lidl do stock them for really quite cheap quite often. I will leave a link to these particular ones in the description, but basically any with this nice little hook top and adjustability will work just fine. And as you've seen, they're really handy to have just for getting the tarp shelter set up right. They overcome those problems you have if you don't have trees in the right place, or if you need to run guy lines across footpaths, or whether you've got wind coming through your site. It just gives you that little bit more flexibility and a little bit more adjustability and reliability than your average forked stick. Well, I hope these tips will help you make more effective tarps. If you're looking to take your tarps knowledge further, or just build a really good knowledge of an understanding of how tarps and knots work and be able to put shelters up and down in no time at all, then do check out my online course, Essential Tarps and Knots for Forest School Leaders. It is designed specifically for the forest school leader who struggles with knots and tarps, who's gone through training and kind of remembers a few knots here and there, but just really struggled to remember all of the knots that were thrown at them over the course of that week. They're basically for the people for tarps that think tarps are a massive pain and wish they could do without them, but recognize the benefits they provide in that outdoor livable space, whatever the weather. So I'll leave a link to the tarps course in the description below. Do please check that out. It is designed to help you and take you to the next level. Anyway, before we close out, I just want to say a big thank you to Wellness Woodlands, who have made this video possible by allowing me to film on their beautiful sunny site. Spring is nearly here, and we'll soon be seeing all camping open up here and people looking to get away for the Easter holidays. So if you are interested in finding a beautiful quiet campsite that has a real eccentricity and quirkiness to it, then do check out Wellness Woodlands and get your booking in soon. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember to make the most of every day, and I'll see you all next time.